My name is Bruce Beach, and I'm a radiological scientific officer. So I started building the shelter. I built it initially out of 4 school buses. When people ask me what it is, I explain to them what it really is an underground orphanage for use in case of a world catastrophe of some sort. Secondly, it's also a distribution point for supplies for refugees. Okay, on my right are the conveyors that we use to bring things down into the shelter or back up out of the shelter if we're going to bring them from our storage rooms to send them off to other locations. We're now 14 feet underground. This is the deepest point of the shelter. There's 14 feet of earth above us here. At the bottom here we have the steel grill, and here's the steel door. Right here is the decontamination table, decontamination tub, so that we can put little children or somebody who's been injured in here and then spray them off. And that was supposedly before they then went into the surgery, which was supposed to be the next room, which we never got equipped. These are supposed to be metal cabinets with locks on them, each one. So when the police come in, they can put their weapons in here and lock them in here so they aren't carrying weapons down into the shelter. At the time we built it, we used the heaviest density, strongest concrete that was available. There are new strengths available now, 40 years later, but back then, that we used the very heaviest. And not only that, we put in so much reinforcement you couldn't imagine, because if it was a government project, you'd have to buy all new steel, but we just went out and scrap steel was very cheap at that time. And we bought tons and tons of scrap steel, and we embedded this inside the concrete. Throughout the shelter, there are the air intakes. And this one at the moment has a generator hookup at the top that all one has to do is plug in the cord on the other end of this, and then it lights the shelter. And
sure, go ahead.
You want me to go in? Okay. Alrighty, I haven't been in here in a long time. I've had lots of other people come in, but I haven't been in here. Okay, well, what we have in here, a mouse has been in here. That's interesting to know. Yes, we've had a mouse here. Okay, so people used to ask me how we keep rodents out. Oh, they aren't a problem. The snakes do it, but the snakes have been lazy apparently. We were building to a specification originally to withstand an explosion 1.5 miles outside the crater of a nuclear explosion. And this is built many, many times over that specification. The shelter would stand right through, except for a very direct hit of a nuclear weapon. The shelter would survive, the people wouldn't, but the shelter would. The buses were brought to us by tow companies. They knew that I wanted buses and that I was using them, so they would call me up at night and they said, I know where a couple more buses are, would you like them? And I said, sure, bring them. I explained to people we're not a survivalists ourselves. I'm a reconstructionist. I'm concerned about reconstructing society for after a nuclear war. Because we do have a shelter here and all, many survivalist groups know about us and do express an interest about us, and we welcome everyone. Oh, things need to be cleaned up, but if anything happens, 100 people show up here 8 hours later, it'll be just all cleaned up perfectly. We have things all stored here. Those are stuffings to put in pillows for everybody, so they'll all have a pillow, and they'll all, try to make it comfy for people. Sensory deprivation room. And it puts the water at the same temperature and saline content as the human body is. And somebody's having cabin fever, well, we can just put them in there and it's quiet, turn on some music, and they just go to sleep. This is a typical day room. And off to the right of it is a bunk room. That's the configuration. Always there's a day room and a bunk room. And on down through here. That's the electronics repair cage, and behind that's the radio transmission room. Behind that's the chapel, and another day room for boys, this one, and their bunk room. The shelter is supposed to be self-independent of society if something happens. So we have everything here, of course. We have, unfortunately at this moment, our generating systems are not working as we would like for them to do, but all these things can be gotten up and going very quickly. The shelter is completely sound. And so what we have in here is the kitchen, and for food preparation. And the chef says that with this kettle and his stove next door where he makes biscuits, he can make soup and biscuits for 3,000 people a day, and that's all we have to do, just survival food. You know, it's not a great menu or anything, but we're trying to just make sure as many people survive as we can help make survive. I want to inspect this. That looks okay.
What's in there?
Oh, those are both filled with honey. 150 pounds honey. So these are beans, you know, that sort of thing. Now this is the water storage tank, 5,000 gallons of water sitting in a milk tanker, like you see going down the highway, a stainless steel milk tanker. And so that's the water. Gemma, if you want to drink, you can drink that one, okay? No, it doesn't look that neat either. We have a brig if we have troubles. We have a morgue. We have all these things. And a kitchen where we hope to be able to cook meals. Our cook says that he'll be able to cook with our facilities meals for 3,000 refugees a day. I'm highly visible on the internet, and anybody who wants to write me to me can just write anything. It all comes to me at webpal.org.